Welcome to another edition of HorseCenter, everyone. I am Brian Zipsy. I'm pleased to be with you today because I have the birthday boy on the East Coast, Matt Schiffman. Happy birthday, Matt. How are you today, buddy?
I'm great, and thank you for the birthday wishes, Brian.
Happy number 36, Matt. It's good to have you here. All right, Matt, we're talking Kentucky Derby on HorseCenter. And of course, this weekend we saw the Rebel Stakes at Oaklawn Park. Matt, it's worth $900,000. It had 14 horses, but it was Cupid going wire to wire.
Yeah, it's amazing. 14 horses, and the race was sort of over almost right out of the starting gate. Amazing.
Cupid didn't break on top, but they had the horse and the wherewithal to rush up to the lead going into the first turn. And after that, Matt, frankly, Cupid ran a good race. This is only his fourth race. He was coming out of a nice maiden win at Santa Anita. But frankly, after he got the lead into the first turn, I thought the other riders made it just a little bit easy on him.
Yeah, that certainly was the case. And I know Cupid didn't break right out of the gate, but they knew what they were doing. They knew they were going to the lead. And by the time they got to the turn, they had the lead and was able to settle the horse down, open a nice little gap so that Cupid could relax and crank out some nice 24-second fractions.
That's right. After a pretty fast first quarter, 23 and change, he was able to knock him off in 24 and change after that. No one pressured him too much, although as they came into the stretch, it looked like my pick, who was the third choice, Whitmore, had a full head of steam. Didn't run exactly a straight course, though, early in the stretch.
Yeah, it sure looked like Whitmore got the perfect trip, making a strong move coming down the stretch. I thought he was just going right by. I saw you heading to the window to cash your tickets, Brian, but wow, Cupid, I wasn't sure, was it Cupid digging in and having that much extra, or did Whitmore hang a little bit? I don't know, but Cupid is the one that had it at the end, pulled off a really nice victory. It turned out to be kind of a flip-flop race, and I'm not talking about wearing shoes in the springtime. All of the horses except for Cupid that were towards the front of the pack ended up in the back at the end, and the horses that were at the back all made moves and finished in the money. And we're talking about, besides Whitmore, we're talking about Creator, who was dead last. And we're talking about Cherry Wine, who made a move from the back of the pack. And we're talking about the winner of the Southwest, Sudden Breaking News, who again was making a move. Chart said steady. Connection said had a little bit of a tough trip. I don't know if it was that big of a deal, but Sudden Breaking News made a good move, ended up fifth also.
Yeah, going forward, I think all five of the horses are interesting horses. I'm not going to put any of them into my top five right now, but there are a bunch of interesting horses. Cupid kind of, yeah, he was the only speed horse that stuck around at the wire, so that's good. On the other hand, maybe the horses that didn't really pressure him early aren't the good horses from the race. Whitmore, not quite the performance I was looking for. He did go out pretty sharply and then back in early in the stretch, but obviously he hung. Although part of that I think was Cupid was running at the end after being able to relax a little bit, but not quite the performance I was hoping for Whitmore. Good race, but not great. All three of the others that you mentioned, Creator came from way back. Cherry Wine came from way back, and Sudden Breaking News did lose some momentum there. And had to restart again, and he was running well again. All three of those could be mile-and-a-quarter horses and ones to keep an eye on moving forward. Maybe we'll get all five back for the Arkansas Derby, which is one of the last big Derby preps. I believe that's April 16th, Matt. All right, so Cupid becomes a new shooter on the Kentucky Derby trail. Now, out west, there was the Sunland Park Derby. No, not the Derby. The Derby was canceled this year because of quarantine issues there at Sunland Park, but they still had a $415,000 three-year-old male race, and there were a couple interesting horses in there, and they ran 1-2 all the way around in Collected and Gettysburg. Anything good come out of Sunland, Matt, with no points coming out of Sunland?
Well, again, it was something good came out of it for Mr. Baffert again. Another one of his horses, another one of his horses starting with a letter C, going right out on the lead, running a big race, collected. Another terrific training job by Baffert. Horse earned a big number, a 98 Beyer speed figure at the end. Um, and Gettysburg for Pletcher. That horse ran a nice race also in there. I think those two did a really good job. Again, Gettysburg doesn't have any Derby points. Collected's got 11 Derby points at this point. So I don't know. I think Baffert will probably give Collected another chance to pick up some more points wherever that might be. He's got a lot of horses to shuffle around now.
Yeah, that's true. And folks, that time for the 9 furlong race, which was called the Sunland Park Festival of Racing Stakes this year, was 148 and change. So there was some running done. Collected really turned away Gettysburg in the stretch impressively. Gettysburg's a nice horse. I think both of them will be collecting checks as their careers move on. Whether they're true Derby horses, very much, at least in my mind, remains to be seen, Matt. Speaking of who we like and who we don't like for the 2016 Kentucky Derby, Mr. Schiffman, Mr. Birthday Boy, how about our Derby lists? I'm assuming you're keeping Mr. Mo Heyman on the top of your list.
Yep, I still have Mo Heyman on the top of my list. It seems like a long time since we've gotten to see that horse run, and it makes me look forward to the Florida Derby even more because we've got all these different horses now in the last few weeks, and we haven't seen Mo Heyman, my number one, and I have Nyquist at number two. We haven't seen either one of them run in quite a while, and to me, those two are still way above the rest of the top 10.
Yeah, that's where I'm going to argue with you just a little bit. I'm excited about the April 2 Showdown Florida Derby. They're the two most accomplished 3-year-old colts for sure, although I like more Spirit a lot moving forward. So he's actually number 2, as you can see on my list, Matt. But I have him sandwiched there between the two Florida Derby stars, the two undefeated stars, Mo Heyman, Nyquist, April 2, Gulfstream Park, Florida Derby. Don't miss it, folks. We won't miss it. Then we got some of the usual suspects, Matt, or some of the same horses just jumbled a little bit. We both like Destin a little bit. You like Dancing Candy a little bit more than I do. I like Mo Tom a little bit more than you do. I see we both move Cupid into the top 10, not the top 5. But a lot of these horses that we have near the bottom 5, 6 spots are Louisiana Derby bound. So I think we should start talking about the Louisiana Derby as we're still talking our top 10 lists for our current top 10 lists.
Yeah, the Louisiana Derby has a little bit of Rebel Stakes feeling to me. A big field with the major contenders from the previous race on that circuit coming back for the Louisiana Derby. We have the top 4 coming back from the Risen Star. And if we recap them, we remember that Gun Runner was the winner of the Risen Star. He's back. Forever, help me with it, Brian.
Forever Mo,
For
Matt.
Forever Mo, right? Who finished second in the Risen Star, is back in the race. Motom, the horse that I think you and I and most people like best coming out of the Risen Star, is also returning, along with Candy, my boy, who finished 4th in the Risen Star.
Yeah, and I think all 4 ran good races, Matt. Candy, my boy, is a quickly improving colt who set all the pace and was pretty game down the stretch to be a good 4th. Mo Tom was 3rd, coming late, coming fast late, but of course really got knocked down in the stretch, not knocked down to his feet, but really had his rally stunted there in mid-stretch and may have been the best horse. I think he was the best horse, Matt. Forever Mo ran a surprisingly good race and was really running at the end, got close to Gunrunner. Gunrunner was the winner. He was the one that went after Candy, my boy, and he held on to the wire in his first race of the year. So all 4 of them are interesting. Looks like Mo Tom is the most respected of the 4, with Gunrunner soon after him on the odds and the respect level. But Forever Mo and My Candy Boy should not be dismissed. I think we both have a horse that we like a lot that's a new shooter to the fairground scene. You want to talk about yours first?
Yeah, again, Greenpoint Crusader is coming back, and Greenpoint Crusader's been hanging on around in my top 10 just because he's one of those horses that I think deserves another chance. Dominic Schettino, his trainer all along, has said this has been the plan. It's going to be one more and to the Derby. We'll see we'll see if Schettino's plan is going to turn out to work well. I want to see what Greenpoint Crusader does here. Could do great things.
Yeah, Greenpoint Crusader, very interesting, Matt. A very classy horse. The Champagne winner ran second to Mohaman. I'm not sure why such a long layoff, but apparently it was the plan for Schettino. So he's coming back after running in January second to Mohaman in the Holy Bull. The one I'm really interested in seeing, Greenpoint Crusader, yes, but also Dazzling Gem, one of the horses I was extremely impressed with in person in Oaklawn Park when I was down there. He's only 2 for 2. He had a foot abscess, missed the Rebel. He's going to run in the Louisiana Derby, maybe the Arkansas Derby too, for trainer Brad Cox. The horses he's beaten in both his maiden and allowance race have come back and won nicely. Dazzling Gem, I think, is a horse with a real future, so it'll be interesting for me to see what he can do in the Louisiana Derby. Matt, those are our top six, but that's pretty good. It should be a fun race. Should be a pretty wide open betting race, the Louisiana Derby on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely going to be true. And I'm going to throw one more in there. Pletcher's got one in there that's going to be a big odds for Pletcher, and that's Battery, son of Bernardini. Um, Lightly raced. Pletcher's horses have been running well lately, so a little bit of interest there.
There you go, folks. Battery, you always got to watch Pletcher. Another one, yet another one in the Louisiana Derby. Dazzling Gem, I think, will be my bet because I think he'll be double digits. Hey, Matt, there's another big race. It's not in America on Saturday, but we have to talk Dubai. We have to talk the world's richest race. It's the Dubai World Cup Saturday, folks. It'll be the first half of the day over here in the States. But there are a gaggle of American handicap horses running in the $10 million Dubai World Cup. What do you got for me, Matt?
I got California Chrome and I got Frosted. You are Mr. Frosted, Brian. I think when we're talking about those two horses, we're talking about right now the two best older dirt male horses that are around. I think this is just going to be a phenomenal matchup between two ultra talented horses in March of the year going for the big money.
The big money indeed, Matt. And you know what? I like them both, folks. I'm a Frosted fan, sure. I don't mind admitting it. I'm supposed to be unbiased, but I have my biases. Anybody who tells you they don't is full of it. But Frosted is a horse that I think is a 10 furlong horse. I think he's going to do really well in this race. He's got a great prep. He's got a very good season over there in Dubai so far, where he's been working well since that prep. I like him just a little bit better in Chrome than this spot because I think Chrome might be best against the best horses running just a little bit shorter. Yes, I know he won the Derby at 10 furlongs, but I think against the big boys, Chrome is probably better at 9 or 9.5. So I'm going to give the edge to Frosted. Matt, who's your top pick? You told me the two favorites.
If I have to pick, I'm going to go with California Chrome, Brian,
There
and maybe that's a little bit of a surprise to you, Mr. East Coast, but I don't know. I just am getting such good vibes about California Chrome this year. I think he's absolutely in the best form that he's ever been in his illustrious career. So I think it's going to be a terrific race. I don't know, Brian. You're my favorite odds maker, Mr. Zipsy. What kind of price do you think the exacta will pay?
Well, Chrome's the chalk. I think the exacta will be deflated, Matt, because I think a lot of people are like us, thinking that Chrome and Frosted are the top two. So that exacta is probably going to be only in the 20s. Chrome will definitely be the favorite, and I think Frosted will be the second choice. We haven't mentioned a lot of other good horses: M. Shall Wish, Keen Ice, Move Dahij, Opportunity, Candy Boys over there. Several European special fighter ran a big race. There's a lot of good horses in there, but I really think that Chrome and Frosted, like you, are a little bit better than the rest, and I think they're going to run too. But I like Frosted, Matt.
Well, that's okay. I would, yeah, and I would like that kind of exacta payoff, Brian. If it was $15 or so or more, I don't know. I think that might be worth a little bit of uh, exacta box.
Box 'em, my friend, box 'em. Frosted's going to beat him, but I love Chrome. Hey, no hate mail from the Chrome fans. I love Chrome. I just like frosted a little bit more. Anyway, folks, that's another show. I hope you enjoyed it. We were talking Rebel Stakes, Sunland Park Festival of Racing Stakes. We're looking forward to the Louisiana Derby and the Dubai World Cup on Saturday. Next week, we'll get down into the showdown. We'll recap the races we talked about, but we'll start talking Mo Heyman and Nyquist even more for the Florida Derby. Hope you enjoyed our show. We're brought to you by the best contest site. If you haven't tried Derby Wars yet, you should. Thank you, Matt, for joining me once again.
My pleasure, and thank you to our crack producer, Ember Mar.
Ember Mar. We'll see you next week, folks.